Is this the end for our most handsome man on the team? Yeah, okay, that's kind of debatable, I guess. Brock is up there, but, yeah, according to the folks who did that poll or whatever, the one that they were talking about on Sportsnet, the Vancouver Canucks are the most handsome team in the National Hockey League, a ranking that is carried by one of their depth forwards, Nils Aman, whom we are talking about today because the news came out on Twitter earlier this morning that the Vancouver Canucks have indeed placed Aman on waivers for the purpose of assignment to Abbotsford. Now, the thing is, before we get into the whys about this all, let's talk about whether or not he gets claimed. So Aman is 24 years old, 6'2", 179, left-handed guy, center winger. He can play all four positions, signed on till the end of 25-26, making $825,000, an amount that doesn't really change much if he goes down to the AHL. Aman this season has 2 points in 4 Vancouver Canucks games. He hasn't been in the lineup for the entire season, but when he's there, he's there. He's actually producing the most points per game with the Vancouver Canucks in his entire career, considering he is on pace for about 39 points in 77 games. But, of course, we recognize that for Aman, he's not really ever going to get to that point, considering his role in the team, considering where he plays, and considering his ice time. Nils Aman, for all intents and purposes, is usually a fourth-line guy, because there are enough forwards in the Vancouver Canucks that the top 3 lines will always have bodies, and Nils Aman hasn't really showed enough to prove that he belongs in any one of those top 3 lines more than anybody else. He's just been more of a regular guy, just a sort of transit guy. He doesn't do anything wrong, he doesn't do anything poorly, but he does enough stuff okay that you can justify giving him ice time in the first place. With the bottom 6 being somewhat more productive this year compared to before, Aman has had multiple assists throughout the season. He had scored an assist against Florida and then another one against the Chicago Blackhawks before he inevitably came out of the lineup, not playing against the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. Again, not really the most important player, not really the most needle-moving guy, but he's there. So, with him getting sent down on waivers, honestly, if he does get claimed and some other team decides that they can use him in a bigger role, maybe the Colorado Avalanche claim him because they need forwards and they have experience with Aman in the past, considering that they drafted the guy all those years ago. Maybe Colorado is some sort of a destination, who really knows. But if Aman does clear, he gets sent down to the Abby Canucks, that is yet another ad for them that helps them out in terms of their growth and development. Having Aman play with Lekaramaki in a first-line role in Abbotsford actually sounds like a really good idea. So, I'm decently optimistic as to what is going to happen with the Canucks and Nils Aman, but you may be wondering, okay, why did they do this? What's the scoop? What is the update? Well, everybody is filling in the blanks, and everybody's throwing around the idea that one Dakota Joshua could be activated with this kind of a move. So, when you consider the Dakota Joshua story, how he has been sidelined, not technically on the long-term injury reserve, but just on the regular injury reserve, there is a pretty decent shot that we see Dakota Joshua suiting up for Vancouver at some point in the next few days. Now, we had ourselves an article published earlier yesterday by Ian McIntyre on Sportsnet.ca that actually talks about Joshua and the latest in regards to him and his recovery. Joshua could help restore the Canucks' identity when he returns from testicular cancer. This will be linked in the description if you wanted to go out there and read it yourself, but essentially the article goes down to the bottom. It talks about some comments made by Joshua. It goes over to some of the conversations that he had. I don't really want to talk too much about those. I just wanted to go over the update. Take a look at this. Ice chips. Since Joshua is on the IR, the Canucks will have to reassign someone from their 23-player roster when he is ready to return. Arshdeep Bains is the only waiver-exempt forward on the roster. Talkett described Joshua's status as day-to-day. Okay, that is great. Day-to-day means that Dakota Joshua can be in the lineup at some point in the next few days. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Who knows if it's even going to be today against the San Jose Sharks. They haven't officially posted the lines yet, but who knows? Dakota Joshua was also skating earlier this week, and it was reported that he was going out there and taking some shots on Thatcher Demko. Where's the tweet? See if we can find it over here. Ah, yes, this is it. Demko is working on his own, taking shots from Dakota Joshua, who was curling off the boards and shooting from the top of the circle. This was by Max Miller, San Jose Sharks beat reporter, earlier this morning. Of course, you know, the San Jose guys are going to be here watching the game in Rogers Arena, so interesting notes there to see Joshua and Demko both kind of suiting up and just kind of going through it. I think it was at the beginning of the season, maybe about a month ago, we heard the timeline for Joshua and Demko was 3 to 4 weeks, which is interesting considering that they're both similar. But guess what? November 2nd, October 7th, it's been about 3 to 4 weeks. So this seems to be like kind of the timeline that we're going down right here when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks and their roster. I don't want to say that this will absolutely change everything, that Dakota Joshua is going to score McDavid-like production and light the league on fire, and he's going to get Petey going and everything. I'm not saying that that's guaranteed to happening, but Dakota Joshua's presence, of course, is very unique. He is a power guy. He can drive into the corners. He can fight for pucks. He can win battles. He can fight guys, and he's really surprisingly skilled. We had seen that last year during his breakout party with Rick Tocchet, that Dakota Joshua, when he's in tight, he can go through the legs, he can make some nifty dangles, he can make some really nice reads and passes in front. It took him so long to bring those skills to the National Hockey League that it's really rewarding for Canucks fans to see this kind of a progression for a guy who literally just had cancer. He had cancer, now he's recovering, now he's taking shots in practice, now he might be suiting up for today's game. And if it's not today's game, maybe it's the next one. If it's not that, then maybe it's the one after. So Dakota Joshua, coming back soon, that's great. Thatcher Demko is also moving around, he's taking some shots, not necessarily on the same timeline, I would say, from Dakota Joshua, considering he is a goaltender, and goalies, you can never be too sure about them, they're voodoo after all, but seeing this sort of an update is a very good sign if you're trying to grasp onto straws and see what opportunities are there for the Vancouver Canucks to improve their team at the start of a new month. October was a really meh month, honestly. Lots to talk about, lots to be upset about. Still some results, though, and still some points, which is at the very least good. It's not like that Bruce Boudreau year a few seasons ago, but when it comes to the roster for today's game, San Jose, we'll see what happens later on. For now, though, I wanted to talk about the Nils Aman waiver situation, plus Demko and Dakota Joshua. If you think that Nils Aman gets claimed, then hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Honestly, to me, Colorado just keeps on buzzing up in my mind. I think that is the most reasonable destination for Nils Aman, because they lost out on Ross Colton, they lost out on Lehkonen, they lost out on Nichushkin, they lost out on Drouin, they lost out on Landeskog. They only have McKinnon and Rantanen, and everybody else. So Nils Aman might be a good enough pickup for them considering they have history with him, but, you know, maybe he wouldn't want to go there because they didn't give him much of an opportunity in the first place, which is why he left, and now he's in Vancouver. But anyways, we'll see if he goes down to Abbotsford tomorrow, if he gets claimed or not. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think this means for guys like Dakota Joshua and Thatcher Demko? I also do think the one underrated thing about this Nils Aman thing is that it allows the Canucks to accrue even more cap space, considering they go through with this entire sending Baines and Bronnstrom thing down and calling them up the next day, because they have been doing that the past little while here. It is interesting to me how this is going to bleed into their salary cap, because Nils Aman going down saves the Canucks a little bit of money, and that helps them save even more in the grand scheme of things heading into the trade deadline. So lots to look forward to here with the Vancouver Canucks. It's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot of positive things that we could expect. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Vancouver Canucks sending Nils Aman down. Do you think he gets claimed? What are your thoughts on Dakota Joshua and Thatcher Demko being near a return soon? So all we gotta do is just wait here, Vancouver folk. Maybe Artur Shilovs gets sent down too. If that's the case, then okay, let him cook in Abbotsford. Hopefully he can be the #1 guy and just kind of get his confidence back, start tracking longer range shots a little bit more. And then Demko and Lehkonen can share the crease, because that seems like a pretty good formula, assuming Demko is as good as he could be. But thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.